I read 83 books in 2024, and rather than talking about every single one of them, I thought I would pick my top 10 and talk about them in the order in which I read them. Starting off with Airfire, I did rate this one 5 stars. It's the third book. I really like this one. I would recommend it. Definitely different from the other books in the series. A lot more world building, plot building, and you're really starting to get into the nitty gritty of things and introduction of a lot of new characters. Next, I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, another 5-star read for me. This one was so cool. One of my favorite Lisa Jewell books now to date. I loved the whole premise and the fact that it was mostly female main characters and female voices as well. Next, Magnolia Parks. Absolutely toxic read, but I rated it 5 stars. I ate this up. Next is Funny Story, obviously another 5-star read. Absolutely love this one. Miles reminds me so much of my fiance, and the entire idea of like moving in with your ex-fiance's new fiance's ex is like crazy to me, and she just did it so well. Next came Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Also rated this 5 stars. Obviously, Abby Jimenez is a freaking emotional genius. Mental health rep that men get in this book was also so amazing to see, so I would definitely recommend this one. Next, we have another 5-star, Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. So this is another one that I was pleasantly surprised by. It's a feminist Greek mythology retelling about Clytemnestra and kind of her journey to being a princess to rising as a queen. Amount of men who come in her way while she is trying to rise to the top and just like be her. So aggravating, but an amazing read. Next, I have Alone with You in the Ether. So this was a 4.5 rating for me, but I feel like the annotations like say that like this was one of my top books. It was one of the most memorable books for me, one of the most lyrical and like poetic and like books that made me feel things. Next up, we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. This was another 5-star. I freaking loved this book. It's the I think second book in the series, and it's about Cade, who is the single dad of the group, and it was so good. I was so surprised, but also not because it's Elsie. But yeah, totally recommend. Another book that I rated 4.5 stars, but is definitely a top read for me, would be Heartless. In hindsight, I definitely should have rated this 5 stars. This book was so good. I loved all of the Alice in Wonderland elements and just the story that we got of the Queen of Hearts. It was just, in general, like a great romantasy book, and I loved it. Like, I would definitely recommend this. Marissa Meyer does a great job. Lastly, the last book that I have is The Ministry of Time by Kalian Bradley. So I also rated this one 4.5 stars, but this was another one that was just super memorable for me. I loved it. It's the concept of like the time traveling and having like a 21st century girl fall in love with an 1800s guy was so interesting and really well done in my personal opinion. That is everything